Hello everybody and welcome back to Half-Life Lore. I needed to start off this episode by saying that I made a pretty big mistake in the last episode when I was referring to this gun. I basically said that the events of Half-Life 2 don't happen because the G-Man takes Alyx away at the end of this game. But he doesn't take her out of the world after the events of this game. The way that the timeline works, she still goes on to do all of what she does in Half-Life 2. It's just at the end of Half-Life 2 episode 2 when she is taken out of the timeline and put into stasis by the G-Man. So I'm sorry about that. That's a pretty major mistake, and I'm sorry that I made that mistake, but let's keep going and seeing what we can. Oh shit, that exploded.
Hey, crap!
That scared me. Where'd you go?
Where'd it go?
I think it went into the pipes and it's gonna jump out of that. I'm just preparing myself because I'm still such a weenie. I get really scared.
Yep, there it is. Found it.
Thanks, Russ.
Probably only one of those.
Yeah, no, you're very wrong about that. Hello? Are you gonna jump out at me? It's so funny too that, like, obviously logically I know that there's nothing that's going to physically hurt me, but your brain just has such a lizard instinct, and if you're like me and very afraid,
Okay, two of them.
you get really scared playing a horror VR game. I mean, even Half-Life 2, even though it's just a PC game, is very scary. And being in VR just amps up the horror times 10.
Heard anything about Dad, Russell?
Yeah, I'll
No.
just use my right hand.
Radio silence.
Nothing's gonna
Not
jump
on
out
the
at me,
train.
right?
Damn it.
Hello?
Well, the good news is he's probably fine.
How do you
Hello.
know that?
Because they're taking him to Nova Prospect to torture him. That's the torture place. So they're hardly going to torture him before they get there. So he's fine. Logically
Sure.
speaking.
Sure, Russell. I love how his idea of empathy is like, yeah, so he's not dead. That's good, right? Because they're going to torture him. That's better than death. Sure. Okay, so I'm actually good on health. I remember very distinctly a jump scare right there that's still probably going to scare me. Like, my hand's even shaking a little.
That there is a floppy disk. We used to store information on them, with magnets, if you can believe it.
Huh.
Specifically, 2 micrometers magnetic iron oxide, 3 micrometers barium ferrite, 1.2...
Hey, Russell? How do you know all this?
I'm reading it here on my computer. I downloaded the internet before the war.
You downloaded the entire internet.
Most of it.
Nice.
Yeah, it is.
So this says, notice, warning, tunnel closure, December 30th through February 26th, and then it's July. Announcement, there will be no public pedestrian or traffic access to Paportnik Tunnel between these dates due to construction. Yeah, well, unfortunately, seems like that's not going to work out so good. Oh, cool. Alright. Oof, it's getting dark. I don't like it. Okay, so We're coming into a very important
Russell, are you
section.
seeing this?
Possibly. Are you seeing floating garbage?
It looks like it's just cardboard.
Right. Well, it seems harmless.
Yeah. Weird though.
So we have, obviously it's in the shape of an eyeball pointing that way. We see all these green energy bands moving in that direction, keeping this cardboard afloat. And take note that it's only cardboard. Nothing else is being picked up by this energy. It's just the cardboard. So let me look around here a little bit, see if there's anything worth getting. Okay, so let's keep a move on. So this next section is very important with regards to the lore and the Half-Life universe, so let's take some time to go through this beauty. So let's start over here because it goes chronologically, clockwise. So here we see some Vortegaunts working together. That almost looks like maybe they're helping an injured Vortegaunt or something. Most likely because we see an antlion and we see these antlion hives, I guess you could call them, like almost like honeycomb, but it's antlion larvae, and they use those to heal. So it would make sense that in this context they would be maybe bringing it over to heal their brethren. Then we're starting to see the Combine invade. We see the Combine transport ships moving in. This looks like one of their boxes that they use to carry the soldiers in. And just let's look at what those look like, because those figures, it's hard to tell what those are. We see a Strider, and maybe those are like head crab shells being bombarded onto the Vortegaunts. So this is the event in which the Vortegaunts get enslaved. So now we're on Zen.
It looks like pictures of Vortegaunts.
And we see the Nihilith with energy coming out of his head, and pictures of chains on the Vortegaunts, and we see their wristbands and the neck bands too, and it's all leading up into the Nihilith. He was the one who on Zen was controlling them, who was their slave master. I'm also just noticing a motif of eyes. That's like the main eye, and then the Vortegaunts have the three bigger ones, and there's eyes down there. So it's a metaphor for the Vortegaunts being able to see all of this at once, because they're interconnected. They have a hive mind. They can see into the future and the past, as well as the present. So that's sort of what the eyes represent, is them being able to see this happening even now. And we see here antlions and the antlion metamorphosis into the big head crab, the mama head crab. And then here...
Wait, that one's Black Mesa.
Somebody spent a lot of time on this.
This is obviously Gordon Freeman. We see the lambda symbol from his HEV suit and the crowbar. And if I'm not mistaken, that's the Black Mesa symbol up there. And then more eyes down there. Then as we move on, we see the the three-headed monster, as I like to call it, and some... Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting the name of them. They're not bull squids, they are... aliens we encounter in Half-Life 1. That's embarrassing. And we see these guys that are sort of like mini nihilants that float and kill you, and they've been crossed off, almost as if they are extinct now, because we don't ever see them again after the events of Half-Life 1. And then now we see them celebrating. They've been freed by Gordon Freeman, and they are now back to being together, being connected to the Vortessence, and having their freedom. And here this almost looks like people, and they have symbols over their heads like the Vortegaunts do, which implies to me that we are connected as well. It's not in the same way that the Vortegaunts are. Like even here, like the symbol above its head is not the same as the symbol above their heads, but it's reminiscent of each other. And even here, like they're almost holding hands. They're connected, and this represents, if you look here, the Citadel, and above the Citadel, a crowbar, which is, you can't even call it really predicting the future. I think it is the future of Gordon Freeman working together with his fellow rebels to take down the Citadel. And it's almost an explosion like we see at the end of Half-Life Episode 1. So, let's see what's going on over here.
Whoa. More floating cardboard.
And we see an eye pointing to that pattern there, which is the Vortegaunt we are about to meet, giving us a clue to which buttons we should press in order to open the gate. So it's that one and that one. And this doesn't go unnoticed. Okay, we see signs here. Ooh, that scared me.
Access is not permitted. Anti-citizen scavenging will result in immediate capital prosecution.
So I made another mistake in the last episode too. I referred to the soldiers as Overwatch. That's not quite right. The voice, like there, even in the subtitles, it says that the voice is Overwatch. It is basically, that's a good question. If someone knows the answer, is that an actual woman talking? Is it some sort of program? Is it a human woman? Is it an alien woman? I don't know. So if someone knows the answer to that, please let me know. But the way I think of Overwatch is sort of the idea of the Combine as a whole, and it is just the thing that is watching us and making sure that the Combine's plans go smoothly. And so in this case, she's saying that being in this area is not permitted. So if you don't leave, we are going to do something about it. Everything here is very green, which is very, very much the Vortegaunt color. Everything related to the Vortessence is almost always green, or, in this case, yellow too, a greenish yellow. Here we see a Combine soldier. I'm not sure what those are supposed to represent, but it could be almost like bombs coming down. And then, of course, head crabs. Back. Whew, we had some technical difficulties getting up to this point. First, the program I used to record decided to stop recording randomly and didn't notify me, so I recorded a bunch more without knowing, and then I tried 3 more times to record it, and there were just issues the whole time. So this is my 5th and hopefully last attempt at recording this section, which is one of my favorite parts of the games, which is why I'm not too upset about it. I'm just more upset about the program.
Alyx, you alright? What's wrong?
I'm fine, Russell. What's up?
I'm losing your signal. Alyx? Alyx? If you can still hear me, keep heading in the same direction and try to get above ground.
Russell? Russell? Crap.
It's pretty interesting that we lose connection with him as we approach this area. We see here this beautiful area. It almost looks like we're in the ocean with like schools of fish, but they're like alien spores floating around. And we see all this
This is weird.
floating debris leading up to this door. And it's so cool. Actually, I just want to look at it for just a little bit longer because it's so beautiful. Okay. Let's see what happens when I ring this.
Oh,
The Alyx fans.
He knows exactly who I am.
You received my messages.
I did?
Come, enter.
Okay, thanks.
You are welcome.
So, what's a Vortegaunt doing here?
Cooking.
Right, but I mean, in general.
I have a brain injury.
Oh, I'm sorry
My
to...
brain is injured.
That's
You
terrible.
can see
and
on his
I
head.
Look, I'm actually pretty busy looking for my father.
The
Eli
Eli
Vance.
fans. Yes.
He
The
forgot his
Combine
name.
have him, and I really do need to get moving.
The Combine. Yes. Do not go yet. I must show you something.
Look, I appreciate
This
it.
way.
I can't stick around.
It is important.
I know, I'm sure it is.
The Alyx fans must go this way anyway.
Okay.
Oh.
I love his facial expressions. Okay. So, I like the shivering head crabs just in chicken coops and dog kennels. But I wanted to mention that it's really interesting that he knows exactly who I am right away
Come in. Come in.
and is even sending me in this direction to give me this message, but he can't remember the name of Eli right away.
I must show you.
So I'm just wondering, first of all, how he knew I was coming. If he suffered from the vortescence. Maybe he just remembers this happening from when he was still connected to the vortescence. And because he's no longer part of the hive mind, he
in
is
here.
having trouble recalling it. It also could just be because they drilled into his head, and so probably parts of his brain aren't working so good no more.
The Combine and other of my kin. Like the Eli band. The Alyx band will free them.
I would help. I really would, but the Alyx Vance is honestly very busy saving her dad.
You will not save him. He is dead.
What?
Or he will be.
Is or will be?
It is a matter of perspective. But Alyx
Perspective.
Vance alone cannot predict his fate.
Look, thank you for everything, but I really have to go. And I'm sorry, but I really don't have time for riddles.
No riddles. The Combine drilled here. I am severed from the vortescence.
You can see all the wires coming off of his
In my head.
arms too.
I'm sorry. Look, if I can, if I run across your friends, I will see what I can do.
You have saved my kin.
I haven't.
Then you will. Courage, Alyx Vance.
So much to say there. I'm gonna keep moving so that he doesn't yell at me, and then we're gonna talk about everything that he just said.
I will help the Alyx Vance. Look to the northern star
Why?
for guidance.
Okay, thanks. Are you done helping?
I am not. Here. Sustenance.
I'll eat it later. Thanks for the help.
You will be welcome.
Okay. So, let's see what he gave us. Ooh, the floor's getting away from me. Let's see. I think I have some sort of weird setting on. How do I fix this? I've done this before, sorry. Oop. That's not right. Why is the floor getting away from me? Just a second. Well, anyway, if you are able to look at that, he's taken all the organs out. So anyway, long story short, matter of perspective. So his idea of the future, the past, and the present is very different from our own. He is having actually trouble grasping the difference, because to him, in the vortessence, you experience what every other Vortegaunt is experiencing, and therefore time is not the same. If you're experiencing everything at the same time, there really is no such thing as time. And so, especially because his brain is injured, he just is having a trouble grasping the idea of time and tense. He also said that the Eli Vance is dead, which is really interesting for multiple reasons. The first being that which death is he referring to? Is he referring to when the Combine advisor kills him, or is he referring to perhaps the natural death or whatever other death Eli experiences after the G-Man puts Alyx in stasis and is no longer killed by the advisor? I wonder if the Vortegaunts can experience the various outcomes. I also wonder if by the G-Man putting Alyx in stasis and saving Eli, if that has changed the events of the universe, and therefore perhaps the Vortegaunts can only see the outcome that happens last, if that makes sense. But again, it's really hard to explain because we don't experience time the same way that the G-Man or the Vortegaunts do. We are very linear, and their whole experience is nothing like ours. I also pointed out the pieces of machinery that was attached to his arms as well as on his head, which I believe serves two purposes. The first being that the Combine most likely drilled into his head to sever him from the vortessence so that he is less powerful. An individual obviously will have less power than an entire species. And then also the fact that later in the game we will see the Combine actually basically sucking the vortessence out of Vortegaunts. And so most likely those pieces of machinery are how they harvest that energy. So I think that's all I wanted to say about that. There's a good chance I'm forgetting something. But I would just love to know your guys' theory on all that and how the G-Man relates to the Vorts. They obviously are not very good friends. So, you know, it relates to who the G-Man is working for. Is the G-Man working for the Combine? Is the G-Man working for humans? Is he possibly maybe even working for the Vorts or some other third party that we haven't seen yet? I personally lean towards the last answer, because there's too much evidence showing that obviously the Combine don't like him, the humans don't like him, at least Eli definitely doesn't like him, and the Vortegaunts don't like him, and he doesn't like the Vortegaunts, so I have no idea what's going on. But let's continue and see if we can't maybe find some answers.